In this episode, it's another trip down to Mom and Dad's to swap over parts from my truck to their truck, and we give them a 22-hour makeover. Our first cars. Likely, if you're watching this channel, we all have some sort of connection to our first cars. Whether that's a really good story about something going terribly wrong with it because it was a clunker, or maybe it's maybe it just was something that iconic, that classic, that from years past, you know, they just don't make them like that anymore. Either way, we all have some sort of special connection with our first rides. Hey, if you're meeting me for the first time, I'm Grant Tommy. This is my channel, Straight Six Fan, your home for offbeat hot rodding. And yes, in this episode, it's another trip down to the greater Wichita area to go work on my first vehicle, a 1995 Ford F-150. But actually, it's more about working on my parents' 1994 F-150, as it is now the donor truck for their truck. And so that brings me to my first vehicle. That 95 F-150 is, as you guys know, if you've been watching this whole series, it's the namesake of my channel, right? It had 396 in it. It embodies everything that is offbeat hot rodding here on my channel. And what I want to accomplish, right? I want to help you build your hot rod and your confidence without a ton of money. And that's exactly what this first truck was. You know, it was a bare bones contractor level truck. That was the first vehicle I learned how to wrench on. I modified for the first time. One of the main things I modified on that truck was putting the K&N air filter kit on it. And I remember being just even scared to use a cordless drill to drill the necessary holes into my truck. And man, I've come a long ways, obviously. But I think back to who I was back then as a 16, 17-year-old. And that's what I want this channel to be about. I wanted to inspire other people. And you see how easy some of the stuff is, and you can just get out there and go do it yourself. And so with this playlist that these videos are ending up in, it's like I'm coming full circle, right? Because my dad had to show me how to use a cordless drill. Really, it's that bad. But he didn't have much mechanic skills outside of, you know, he's a construction worker, so he knows his carpentry stuff in and out, upside down. So he helped me build my confidence there. But now it's like, here we are 18 years later, 18, 19, 20 years later maybe, and I'm showing him how to do things. And just how easy some of this stuff is. And, you know, I wouldn't have gotten to where I am today without that 20 years of experience. And again, I still have a lot to learn on my own about what it means to be a true hot rodder and things like that. But it's just really cool to see how the truck that started it all, I'm looping back around and I'm tying up who I want to be, how I want to help people, and that's super rewarding. So coming up here in a little bit, when we get to Mom and Dad's, it's time that we get the new rotor. Well, I say new, the swapped over rotor that has 5 good wheel studs back on the truck, and we get some new pads on that truck. Well, it's that final Saturday before the time change, so taking advantage of sunlight. It's about 5 o'clock here Central Time, and went ahead and got the spindle cleaned off, hit it with some emery cloth, and got that kind of polished back up, and then just a light coat of grease here. So we're ready to throw that rotor and new set of bearings on, and then get this back together, and new pads, and then pads on the other side, and this should be ready to drive.
I'm thinking about growing out a mustache and stuff for future episodes.
So you can be Paul Sr.?
Yeah.
I need to probably work on my attitude too to be Paul Jr., so. Here we are on Sunday. I think we're still in the morning. I think it's still before noon. Got the brakes on, of course, yesterday for the driver's side, the new bearings and rotors. Got the new pads on here on the passenger side, so we're just now getting to cleaning up the wheels that came off my truck. And, you know, not going to do a best practice prep job, but we're going to at least get some of the surface rust off. another successful weekend swapping over parts for Mom and Dad's truck, and gotta tell you, my mom's stoked. She's so happy with how much better the truck looks. You probably saw my thumbnail. I meant to do a walk around shot. Right before I was leaving their house, we got a taker on Facebook Marketplace to buy the tonneau cover off my truck, so able to recoup some of the costs for buying back my old truck for their sake, and that brings it down to $530 that they invested getting the parts truck. And I do believe between the tires and all the interior parts, the rotor, tailgate, all the things we've swapped over, I think we got there. I think it was a fair use of $530 for sure. But yeah, no, it just feels good. It's like I said, it's this full circle thing, right? It was my first truck that I learned how to wrench on, and it's kind of its final destination is wrenching on something for the sake of Mom and Dad, and so that's pretty cool. They bought that truck for me back in high school, so it's kind of glad to be able to somewhat give back. And while it is tough to see my truck in even further disrepair and stripped down further, it does in a weird way feel good though too. Just knowing that there's still going to be parts and pieces of my old truck living on in the family heritage truck. Well, like, comment, share, subscribe. I don't care which one you do, as long as you do one, it really helps the channel out. That's going to do it for this episode. To all my 6 fans out there, thanks for watching.